Major championship title, European champion. That's got a nice ring to it. He's in a very good club there with the likes of Whitlock, Taylor, Van Gerwen, Lewis. That's a nice club. And he did rather well in Göttingen at the back end of last year, did James Wade. And that's where he's going to defend that title. But he's got to do something before he can defend that title. He's got to play well on the Euro Tour and get ranking points. Now, same as last season, if Wade was to lose this game, he would not get any ranking points. But if he wins, he'll have a minimum of 3,000 ranking points in the bank. So, essentially, doesn't matter where you're seated, you are starting from the same spot as all the other guys. And Plaisier is starting this game rather well.
Yeah, well, James Wade, last year in the opening tournament
95
of the Euro Tour, he went all the way to the semi-finals, was only beaten in a really good game by Peter Snakebite Wright. And in fact, the exact same thing happened in the next Euro Tour event as well. Peter Wright beaten in the final, both of them by Michael Van Gerwen.
100.
Yeah, Peter Wright this year has got 5 victories to defend on his rankings. Good luck with that, Peter. That's very, very tough. But what a start from Plaisier. 1 dot left.
18.
He can't do that against James because this number's got him written all over it.
Oh, 11s. Bullseye.
96.
Not quite. You kind of, there's a sense of inevitability about those sorts of checkouts, James Wade. It didn't quite happen there.
That was a warning to Wesley. The warning has been heeded. He gets a nice holder throw at the start of the match, but you cannot afford to miss 3 clean darts against James. I remember writing earlier in the week about James and calling him the ultimate opportunist. I think I'm not the first person to have written those words, but
I assume this was like for some sort of Premier League preview. It wasn't like in your diary or anything.
Oh, I don't know about that. Does anybody write in a diary anymore?
I don't know. I like the idea of somebody being a diarist. It seems like a job from hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, buy yourself a nice pen and or get a quill.
Yeah.
And write in it every night under candlelight.
There you go.
After you've watched the Euro Tour.
Well, that's me sold. James Wade, certainly plenty to write home about over the last few months. Not only did he become European champion, became the World Series of Darts Finals champion. He is right up there in the world rankings, in the 1-year Pro Tour Order of Merit.
140.
He is very much firmly established back where he belongs at the pinnacle of darts. Treble 19 would leave the bullseye. Does he go for it? Does he? He does, and he pins it! Wadey, absolutely unnecessary 167.
I don't mind that. That's a statement. And there's one thing we know about Wade. In previous years, you see the parents of Wesley there watching on. When James doesn't know much about an opponent, and he's never played them before, and he's never played Wesley before, he will want to make an impression, not just on the scoreline, but from an emotional and passionate sense as well. And he has been told off for that in the past. But when he plays you for the first time, you know about it. And that 167 was proof that he wanted to send a message to Wesley Plaisier saying, look, young man, this is not going to be easy for you.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was anticipating it was going to be an easy ride for Wesley.
Looks in pretty good nick today, does Wadey. I think he may be very happy that he's playing early in the afternoon. He's a superstar player, and you would ordinarily see him on a Saturday night. But he's got the family with him this weekend. Sammy's here, and little Arthur, is it?
Yes, Arthur.
Saw them at breakfast this morning, all having a bit of family time, which is lovely.
Well, that's it. He'd had to spend a couple of weeks away from him. Oh, he's not going to do it again, is he?
Well, he would have had to have gone for the bullseye that time because Wesley's on a finish.
If he'd laid up there, That would have been sending a message. Take the 167 when you don't need to and lay up when he's on a finish. That's a mind games right there.
Yeah. He's been amongst the great mind game players of all time, the likes of
64.
Taylor and Lewis. Lewis, who we'll see later on. Single 16 for tops for James. Clinical. And we don't expect anything less from Wadey.
James to throw
So
first.
very, very Wade. Break of throw and a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, Wadey said on many occasions over the last few years that
140.
if it wasn't for Phil Taylor, he would have won so much more money. And then as soon as Phil is pretty much out of the way, then on comes a Dutchman who is as good, if not better.
85.
So imagine, if you will, it's a horrible thought to think that Phil Taylor was never part of it. But imagine if James Wade was the guy who was picking up all those titles, if Phil was never there, and if Michael had not rediscovered his mojo. How many majors and how many titles would James have had? He would have probably gone down as the greatest player of all time.
Well, look, I mean, one of the highlights, and look, this is saying something, one of the highlights of Phil Taylor's incredible career, the greatest career we have ever seen in this sport,
100.
is winning a Premier League title and in a major final, throwing 2 9-darters. It was nearly 3. James Wade only lost that final by 2 legs. That's how good that game was. James Wade has done all manner of things in this game.
90.
And for my money, I don't think there is anybody even comes close to Wade in the discussion, who is the greatest player never to have won a world title yet.
140.
And I still think that Wade can do it.
31.
Let's come back to that subject in a second, because it's a very good one. Double 10. Only just on the inside. An excellent double 5. You ask most pro players where they want to hit a double. It's on the inside of the outside wire. That's a great double. But great conversation to have. Who is the greatest to have never won a world title? From I think it depends what generation you're from.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people from previous generation who maybe say Mike Gregory.
Yeah.
Because of the genuine talent that Mike had. But from this era, it has to be James, I think.
With 9 major titles, and as you say, could have been a whole lot more.
96.
The man is a special player, and lest we forget, he's 35 years old. There is a lot to come from James Wade. He's not going away.
And that's something like 18 years removed from his first ranking title, which I believe, I'm thinking off the top of my head here, I think it was in Switzerland.
You may be right. Swiss Open 2002?
97.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Wadey's doing everything right here. He's constantly putting pressure on Wesley. And even there, being adrift, he bangs in that 140 and just says to Wesley, I'm still here. That's a really good reply from the Dutch boy, though.
He's not doing badly here, Wesley, just to try and stick with Wade. But it's just very, very difficult right now. Because that is another great setup shot. It leaves him on 60, and it's forcing his Dutch opponent to take this out, or he's staring down the barrel of another break of throw. Treble 17 leaves tops. He gets the dart at tops. And he pins it, and that's, wow. Have some back yourself, James.
That is nothing short of excellent. Because when you ask someone a very difficult question,
140.
and the question was being asked to Wesley there, are you willing to do something special to stay in this game? And that 111 was wonderful.
Yeah, well, somebody averaging 105 and hitting 60% their doubles against you. To only be 3-2 down, not bad. Oh, sorry, more than 106. And this is one of the things I would throw at people who say James Wade cannot win a world title. He doesn't score heavily enough. The game has moved on. It's all about Anderson and Van Gerwen and Jeffrey Desvar and these sorts of players who just smash in 180s, and Wade will get left behind. Who's got the highest average in the Premier League so far this year? that man James Wade with nearly 110.
You know, I'm one of those guys who thought maybe just over a year ago, when his career was regressing a little bit, I thought maybe he was on the slide a little bit. I'll come out and say that I was doubtful that he might make it back, but I am very much one of those guys who was eating a bit of humble pie, because I should have seen it coming. Well, look, because he's done it before.
There are always those doubts. And look, let's have it right. The major titles that he won last year, he had a lot of fortune, surviving match darts. Max Hopp should have beat him in the Euros. Michael Smith could have beat him in the World Series darts finals. But he got the job done. And it's not as if there weren't other tournaments through the year where perhaps he didn't have a bit of luck, when he could have won a game and perhaps gone on and won a title where he didn't before. But double 18 for Wadey. You think it's going, you expect it to go, and it does go. Because that is what James Wade does when James Wade is playing well, and James Wade is playing well.
I wonder how much James thinks about double 18, because it was that double that potentially cost him a world title against Adrian Lewis when he had the infamous Windgate match at Ali Pali. And let's face it, the way that the final turned out, Wadey probably would have won it. That's no disrespect to Andy Hamilton, but it wasn't the greatest world final of all time. But if Wadey had won that match, say 6-1, 6-2,
he would have been the favourite.
He would have probably won that final. But just going back to what you were saying about James being the best player not to win a world title, does that inherently make him the best left-hander of all time for you?
I mean, he's got to be. Yeah, I mean, I genuinely think James Wade, 100. At some point, you know, if my prayers are answered and the meteor strikes tomorrow and it all ends, then like when you're ranking up the players, that man goes in as a great of the game. There is no doubt about it, despite having never made a world final.
Not yet, anyway. And interestingly enough, a very short story of his that he met Alan Glazier once, a great left-hander from Lancashire. He didn't know who he was. How do you not know who Alan Glazier is? Well, he's at a 111, sorry. Can I get a 120? Oh, yes, he can. Phenomenal. He is sticking in there, all right.
I tell you what, Wesley Plaisier, like a limpet, is somehow, and he's just sort of geeing himself. He knows he's playing well here. The average is just below the ton for Wesley Plaisier. That's a good 14 points higher than it was against Gian Artut.
121.
Maybe is he playing with less pressure today? Because against Artut yesterday, he may have been feeling the pressure because he might have thought he was the favourite for the match. He wasn't the favourite for this one by any stretch of the imagination. But he's playing very well. This has been a sensational standard so far.
Well, look at that. We've had one leg that has gone more than 5 visits and a couple of 4-visit legs in there. This is really top-class stuff. But it is also a tight game.
140.
And tight, high-quality games are usually where James Wade does the business, because there aren't many better, and there's certainly not many more experienced than James Wade in winning these sorts of games.
190.
I think that's a word that isn't used enough with James. I think the experience he's got in the bank is something that he could sell for a lot of money. Like you say, mid-30s, and he's still got 10, 15 years ahead of him.
Well, yeah, easy. I mean, you've made the point repeatedly that some players don't reach their peak until their 40s. If that is the case for James Wade...
141.
Yeah, get your bit of chalk out for the board and chalk up some more titles for the future. That is a really good dart. Leaves himself on double 18 again. But the way that Plaisier has been hitting these ton outs, this is going to be in trouble. Tops again, and he got this double on the last 2, 10s, and he misses this one. That could be absolutely enormous in the scheme of this game.
And it does go, that double 18 for James Wade. And there's part of you that thinks, well, hang on, like Wesley, he had 2 darts there to level the game at 4-all. That was a real chance. But there's another one that thinks, well, the chances he would get it, they're all ton-plus checkouts, and if you keep going to the board going, this is a ton plus, it has to go, it has to go, and they are going, eventually that's going to stop. You're not going to keep on taking ton plus checkouts, leg after leg after leg after leg. And it's because James Wade is putting him under pressure. This is a really, really good display from Wesley Plaisier. Unfortunately for him, he's run into James Wade, who is just playing that little bit better. And the James Wade formula 55. May well be in effect, because at the end of the game, James Wade's average is going to equal your average +1.
Now the way he's throwing now, it might be a little bit more.
140.
Get the feeling that James has had enough of this game now and he wants to get rid of it. And what he's been doing more so lately than what he was doing a little bit earlier in his career is he would get embroiled in a match. Oh, that's incredibly bad luck. And I said yesterday, there's not a lot of luck in darts. That was just pure unluck.
Unluck?
Absolutely. Gonna Gary Anderson there with 2 darts.
60.
And that may be a little bit of fortune where Wadey says, right, this is time to finish this off now.
Just eases things for Wade. He needs to fill them up here, Wesley. Can't quite manage that. But I tell you what,
85.
there are some games you can lose and come out with a lot of credit. And this looks like one of them. Because we hadn't seen him on the European Tour until now. But this weekend, Wesley Plaisier has really done himself a lot of credit. And he may well go out 6-3 in this second round, and James Wade may well go and set up a clash with either Vincent van der Voort or Joe Cullen in tomorrow afternoon's last 16 session of action.
101.
But I think we'll see plenty more of Wesley on the European Tour this year. Double 14 will leave his favourite double 10. Can't quite manage that, but he knows he's going to come back. Because James Wade doesn't care at this point about... He knows he's going to get match darts, and at the minute, he's 5 out of 8 on his doubles. So, single 8 for 2 at tops. And in fact, he's got 2 visits. So this will be that.
And it is. Double 10. And for some reason, he holds his hands up. He's got every right to feel very good about that performance because he was tested. Plaisier, like you say, Dan, he walks away from this game with a lot of credit because he pushed Wadey into playing properly. Wadey is here to win this week. Hasn't won a European Tour for a while, but he does like playing in Leverkusen. Had a really good run here last year. Can he go a couple of steps further and pick up that title and start his Roll of Honor for 2019?
Wir gratulieren zu einem tollen European Tour Debüt, Wesley Plaisier. Und wir gratulieren zum Einzug in die dritte Runde, James Wade. James, congratulations, great game, average close to 100. He made you work hard there, don't you?
I was very, very lucky. He missed 2 darts at a double on the 100. Yeah, very lucky, but onwards and upwards.
Er sagt, ja, da habe ich Glück gehabt, dass er die beiden Darts auf die 100 Punkte verpasst. Hat er ihn ein bisschen vom Haken gelassen, aber sagte, das Glück braucht man manchmal und jetzt geht es dann einfach weiter. The fact that you're only joining the action as a seeded player on the second day, would you say that's maybe sometimes a disadvantage because the guys that played the first round, they got used to the stage already?
Dart players love to make excuses, don't we? No, I mean, we've also had big crowds to get prepare in front of. We've also had the pressure of the Premier League, so, you know, does that give us a bigger advantage?
Ich habe ihn gefragt, ob das vielleicht ein Nachteil ist für die gesetzten Spieler, dass sie erst am zweiten Tag ins Geschehen eingreifen, während die Spieler, die die erste Runde gespielt haben, ja schon gestern ein bisschen die Luft hier auf der Bühne schnuppern konnten. Da sagt er, ja, wir Dartspieler, wir machen das ganz gerne, uns so ein paar Ausreden ausdenken. Sagt, aber wir haben ja in der Premier League gespielt am Donnerstag, haben auf einer noch größeren Bühne gespielt. Also das soll sicher keine Ausrede sein. Wir gratulieren The Machine, James Wade!